be a Houston Texans fan. And this Sunday is the biggest game in the past 3 to 4 years. And I feel like I've said that. We've both said that a lot this season. But this Houston Texans team continues to surprise everyone. They continue to beat the expectations that were put on them. Now the Houston Texans find themselves fighting for first place on Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars. How do you feel about it?
I'm excited, man. This is like you said, you hit the nail on the head, man. I mean, this is the biggest game for the Texans in quite a few years. It continues to be that conversation because they continue to exceed expectations. That's why we keep saying, the Bengals, that's a big game of the year for the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to the Steelers, man. This could be a big statement win for the Texans. And now it's gonna sort of, if they continue on this trend of success, it's gonna get accustomed to it's not a big game for them anymore. We expect them to get W's, but we're not doing that quite here yet against the Jaguars. It's going to be a lot of fun, though, man. Happy Turkey Day to everybody else, by the way.
Happy Turkey Day. Hope y'all got some good food in you. My boy Harley was geeking on Twitter after he had a couple of in him. Man, before we get to this episode, we were brought to you by Bet Online. The holiday season is off and rolling with NFL in full stride and the NBA, NHL hitting mid-season form. BetOnline is your number one destination for all of your sports wagering info. With up-the-minute sports wager news, odds, trends, and predictions, BetOnline is the top spot for everything pro and amateur sports.
And not just the big four, Bet Online has info available at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access at any time for almost any sport that is played. From MMA to international soccer, head to the Bet Online today. And remember to use our promo code BLEAV, Believe, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts.
Alejandro brings up Thanksgiving leftovers hidden. Harley, do you have a favorite Thanksgiving combination of leftovers?
Oh, it's just whatever's left over from the first plate. I mean,
Ooh.
it's just first plate round two. All right, we are stuffed as a tick again. It's definitely dressing though, like dressing, stuffing, whatever y'all want to call it. Dude.
You
I
like your
mean,
stuffing with or without onions?
with
Okay.
with onions, with celery. That's what we do, and then we go old school grandma recipe. So we got to get some gizzards. People
Mm-hmm.
don't know what gizzards are. You've got chicken gizzards. We get some turkey gizzards. You boil them in olive oil and water. They get nice and tender where they're not chewy anymore. And yeah, man, chop them up, throw them in the dressing. You have yourself some good eating right there, man.
I'm gonna go two Hawaiian rolls sliced in the middle. Then I'm gonna go
Okay,
layer of mashed potatoes and gravy, a
okay.
little bit of jam on top. Then I'm gonna go turkey, ham, and a little bit of cheddar cheese. And boom, sandwich closed. That's what I'm eating for the rest of this week and week and a half, man. I love Thanksgiving.
Me too. I'm a food connoisseur. Thanksgiving, I love cooking, so Thanksgiving is right up my alley. The body was made by Thanksgiving.
Ooh. Now we're on to the Houston Texans versus Jacksonville Jaguars. And the trash talking has been insane. This is becoming like a rivalry now. It is Trevor Lawrence versus CJ Stroud for the next, what, potentially 10 to 12 years. I am all here for this. But damn it, Harley, it feels good to be back watching football games that freaking matter. I am nervous, but I'm not nervous like, oh, I hope we don't get our ass kicked. It's no, we might win this game. We're going to be in first place. And then you start having the conversation in your head. You look at the rest of the schedule, you're like, huh? Who really puts fear in me when I should be putting fear in everyone else? You know what's another point, Hardy? Let me know if I'm wrong. I think all the pressure this Sunday is on Jacksonville, and here's why I say that. If Jacksonville, I'm sorry, if the Texans lose this game, no one's gonna be shitting on us. I promise you that. It is gonna be, oh, they're not there yet. They weren't even supposed to be in this situation, but look how far they got. Next year, it's going to be all systems go. But if Jacksonville loses this game, it's, are you an actual contender? You just lost first place of your division. What is going on with the Jaguars? I am loving my team this Sunday, Harley, and I smell it, man. I smell first place right there.
I feel you. I feel you, man. I ain't gonna lie. The Houston Texans definitely got themselves a great matchup with the Jaguars. A lot of trash talk being thrown in terms of the quarterback battle of Lawrence versus Stroud, and whether or not you can say that CJ Stroud has already surpassed Trevor Lawrence in terms of quarterback play. Look, I don't ever remember Trevor Lawrence in MVP conversations. I don't ever remember that.
Generational quarterback.
That's what I do remember. And that is something I don't remember being said for CJ Stroud. And we are, 11 games in, and he's already an MVP candidate in the NFL. Huh. Interesting. Could possibly be an MVP as a rookie for the first time ever since 1957's Jim Brown. If that ain't generational, it ain't Trevor Lawrence. I'll tell you that right now. Trevor Lawrence is not that guy. Not saying he's a good quarterback. He's a solid quarterback. He's really good for the Jaguars. But they expected him to be great. When Trevor Lawrence came to the division, I was worried, right? I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was worried. I'm hearing generational quarterback. I'm looking like, man, big, tall quarterback, prototypical build. I'm going, hey, this dude's gonna be taking the division for quite some time. Okay. Hadn't done nothing. What, last year was supposed to scare me? Like, they didn't prove a lot to me last year. Yes, that's their coming out party with Doug Peterson. Cool. I need more. Like, I need something else. This guy was touted with all of the ranks coming out of college, coming into the NFL. Again, generational quarterback. I thought of it like Peyton Manning with the Colts. He's going to have the division in a stranglehold for the next decade. And come on, man. There nobody. The Colts, the Jaguars, the Colts and the Titans, they're not even scared of Trevor Lawrence. And the Titans just got freaking raw dogged by the Jaguars this last Sunday. So I don't know what I'm saying is the Houston Texans dominated them, used them as a stepping stone, by the way. They used them as a stepping stone to showcase, to flex themselves into the NFL. Got the eyeballs to them, 37-17. And okay, the Jaguars obviously aren't the same team from that week till they are now. But the Houston Texans aren't the same team either.
No.
So if we beat the Jaguars, okay, the Jaguars have gotten better. Well, the Texans have gotten better every single week. And, buddy, we beat the Cincinnati Bengals at Cincinnati. We beat the Steelers with JV offensive linemen. We've beaten the Saints, all right? We've beaten top teams in this league, okay? Got statement wins on the road as well. Who's to say my Texans can't be first place in the AFC South Sunday around 3:30?
Shout out to Jerry. I believe he is watching all the way from Germany. You know, you bring up Trevor Lawrence, man. It was generational, like you said. And just like you, I was worried. And I think we all said this in the group chat. We were like, well, the way this team is going right now, man, it looks like Jacksonville's going to be at the top of the division. They said watch party at Harley's. That's gonna be insane.
I'm gonna be at the
um,
game, so
Harley will be at the game. I will be at the tailgate in the
I'll
blue
be there
lot.
with you.
You gonna be there?
Yes, sir.
No,
Yes, sir.
we're gonna get
Me and
slaughtered.
Danny.
We're gonna get slaughtered.
We're gonna be at the tailgate, and then we're gonna be ready for the game. Me and Danny, section 135. Let me know where y'all at.
Let's freaking go. Trevor Lawrence just does not scare me. And I look at his stats on this season. There's only one game where he's thrown over 300 yards, and that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was 6 weeks ago. I see only 3 games with multiple touchdowns. I don't see a game with 3.
Hmm.
I look at the weapons he has. I look at what the Jacksonville Jaguars invested into him.
Okay.
Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, a pretty good offensive line, Travis Etienne. Hardly, if you give CJ Stroud, Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne, I mean, I think he goes stupid. What I'm trying to say is Trevor Lawrence with these weapons, they just do not scare me. And like you said, the Houston Texans team has got better. You know who wasn't playing in that Jacksonville Jaguars game? Laramie Tunsil, Titus Howard, Derek Stingley, Jalen Petrie, Tavier Thomas, Juice Scruggs. Shout out to Juice Scruggs. He is back practicing. Welcome. We thought you were a myth. We thought you were a myth. Round of applause for Juice Scruggs. We are back, Hardy. This might be the most healthiest game we have played all season. That injury list was only 8 people long. I'm feeling dangerous.
Oh, Baker Mayfield, huh? We're
Because, man,
feeling
you know what,
dangerous in
dude?
H-Town.
I've seen the comments throughout this season. Oh, let's wait a little bit. Let's wait a little bit.
Nah.
Let's see who let's see who they beat next week. And I hate it. And I hate it because I'm not chicken. I'm not the P word. I'm not gonna say it on live, but I'm not that. I am gonna go in thinking I can win every single week, just like what you said, Harley. Now it is time to feel confident in this Houston Texans team. You should be on a high after walking into Cincinnati, walking into the jungle, and walking out with the Bengals head. Now you are in the H. Now you have a former Hall of Fame player, multiple time defensive player of the year, 220 sack seasons. He is teasing, returning to the Houston Texans. Look, we talked about this last week. We did not put any weight into it. I bring this up again, Harley. Look, we love to say where there's smoke, there is fire. And how much smoke do you see at NRG? Because from what we learned on the Pat McAfee show, Harley, that JJ Watt is not only in the building, but he is lifting with the team and he is helping the young guys. And then I remember turning to my friend and I said, if ownership, if D'Amico, if Nick Casario do not want them there, any one of those 3 do not want them there, JJ Watt's not in the building. But yet here we are. Harley, this is your guy. You've called JJ Watt the best player to ever play in the NFL. What do you think about him teasing a return to the Houston Texans?
I hate to be a Debbie Downer.
Come on. Come on. You can't do me like that.
Look, I love JJ Watt. You know I
Can't do
love
me like
JJ
that.
Watt. And I know this the second week in a row.
Come
He's
on.
teasing. He's tickling us. He's
No,
doing all that stuff. Shout out
Harley,
Legends
no.
Auto Styling. I'll be at 135 too, brother. I'll be wearing my Texans Hawaiian shirt. Just hang out, chill, and let's get a cold one together. Why not? JJ Watt, though, man. He did mention that he already told Pat McAfee this, that he was already going to be at the facility, that he's been at the facility. And Pat McAfee and his boys, they know what they're doing. They're egging it on. They're throwing some gasoline on the fire.
JJ hasn't said no.
He hasn't said no. I would be absolutely shocked if he comes back to the Houston Texans. I would be absolutely shocked. And like we said, it has to happen soon. Like the time's ticking on him, all right? The hourglass, the sand is falling, and it's falling fast, and there's not many crumbs of sand left in that hourglass for him. We talked to Ed Smith, former NFL player, two-sport athlete who is a part of Believe Cardinals. If anybody missed the episode, go ahead and check it out on anywhere where you stream all your podcasts and platforms, or check out one of the live streams between Ruben's YouTube channel or my YouTube
We're
channel,
all
and
on there.
you can find it real quick. So Ed Smith said it, man. Like, this guy, he's not Superman. You know, it's not like he just forgot his glasses one day when he was wearing the outfit. Like, he is not Superman. I don't care who you are. It's going to take about 4 weeks for him to get ready. Oh, but he's lifting. He's in the facility. And as he said, he has fresh legs. Look, man, that don't mean a lot to me. That don't mean a lot to me. I got to see it full effort. I got to see you with the pads on. I got to see you at the practices with pads on. And I got to, hey, man, don't be tickling me. If you coming back, you got to do it now. Like, don't be messing with me. Don't be messing with my emotions. Don't be messing with these Texans fans' emotions, man. Like, this is a time where, JJ is going to start turning himself into people going, is he coming back or not? And when he doesn't, people are going to be like, oh, well, then why is he doing all this for? He's just putting up a show. Like we've said before, many people have said before. That's what JJ does, right? But ultimately, if this is going to happen, it has to happen soon. I don't see it happening. I love the smoke around this, but man, that's fake smoke, man. That's just smoking up with joint or something, man. That's just
He's
all
just
fake
doing
smoke.
too much.
A
He's
little bit,
doing is doing way too much. You just had a baby. You just bought a soccer team. Why are you showing up to the facility on time? Because you are gonna be there on time when you work out. JJ Watt, I promise you, was the first person in that
yes,
building.
without a doubt.
Leaving practice, going home, then coming back, because like he said, I am gonna go after and work out with the young guys. I mean, look at the trust that that D'Amico, that Nick Casario, that ownerships are putting into JJ Watt, letting them put a hand in with Will Anderson Jr. and the rest of the defensive line group. This is too much stuff to not end up with him being on the Houston Texans. Now, in regards to whether it happens this year or next year, that is a possibility. But I do think if Houston beats Jacksonville on Sunday,
Hmm,
I think JJ Watt does come back,
hmm.
because now you find yourself not only fighting to keep your number 1 spot in the AFC South, but you are fighting for high seeding. Currently, the Jacksonville Jaguars are the 3rd seed in the AFC. You take this W, you can fight for a potential 1 to 2 seed, Hardy. You look at the rest of the remaining schedule, and none of these guys fear me, dude.
They
So,
don't. They don't. Sorry. Um, no, they don't. I just don't see it happening. I
what
really
will be better than waking up on Monday? I am first place in the AFC South. Then about noonish, 1 o'clock, bzz, JJ Watt has returned to the Houston Texans. You want to talk about making a big story? That will be it right there, because you and me both would jump on this camera and say you start the playoff push with JJ Watt. This is your Super Bowl push. This is everything you needed to give yourself the confidence, the energy to push yourself for the second half remainder of the season.
Yeah, and then you wake up from your dream. That's exactly what would
I'm gonna be
happen.
pissed if he's just doing this just to do it, man. Like, you already know how I feel about the guy. You already know how I feel, and just to but like just to even tickle everyone's nuts about potentially returning, because it would be crazy if he does.
I'm telling you, man,
12 and a half sacks last year.
it's not happening. We already know this. You know what Pat McAfee's doing. Like, he is joking. Him and his boys know how to turn up the heat on this. Sure, JJ hasn't said no. JJ has said no, just in other ways. And he said if he
Man,
did come
shut
back,
the
it
fuck
was going to be with the Pittsburgh Steelers to play with his brother. Okay, he's said that openly. He also said that he told Pat McAfee he was working out with the Texans in their facility.
Mm-hmm.
JJ Watt is a workout warrior, a gym rat. We all know that, yes. But sure, he has his own magnificent gym, but he lives and breathes H Town. Like, for real, for real. He lives and breathes Houston.
I agree.
So, and he has a great relationship with D'Amico Ryans. He's talked about it before, as well as many former players. So, the Texans social media knows what they're doing, posting photos of JJ Watt and all this good stuff. All of this smoke is just, we're taking all of the smoke from Pat McAfee, from Texans social media, from Texans Twitter. It's not necessarily all of it deriving from JJ Watt. It
I mean,
is.
we are reacting from his actions, which are being in the facility,
Mm-hmm.
working out with the young people. You
Mm-hmm.
had even D'Amico Ryan said, "Hey, even if you want to play JJ, whether he meant it or not, you are saying that." And it would be a big moment if it does happen. And I think if it doesn't happen after we beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, it's just not going to happen at all. But
It's not happening.
regardless, I said on my video that just having them in the building is just
Mm-hmm.
as positive, is just as much of a win of having them there play, of having him there play on Sunday. I still think he is going to be in the building on Sunday. Now, I don't know if he's going to be in the booth or on the sideline. Oh, I would love if JJ Watt was on the sideline on Sunday. Like I said, that's just as good as having him play, but you're still just tickling me, man, because I know that, man, just imagine JJ Watt leading you to the Super Bowl, bro. Like, we will burst into tears. And what's crazy is we've been seeing this team do things that we didn't think they could do all season. Shout out to JJ Watt. Going back to the Houston Texans versus Jacksonville Jaguars. Are you expecting any type of drawback from the running game with Damian Pierce potentially playing on Sunday? I actually think it gets better, right? Maybe see him in short yardage situations. I would have ran that 4th and 2 with Damian Pierce instead of Mike Boone last week against the Arizona Cardinals. Goal line situation, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I could agree with that. I
Mm-hmm.
could. So yeah, Devin Singletary, I still believe should get majority of the carries.
Agree, 100%.
And he's earned it. The last 2 weeks, what he's done with the same offensive line Damian Pierce has had, the same ones. And Devin Singletary went out there and had a buck 50 and a buck last week.
Yep.
So he's done amazing. So he deserves the majority of the carries. But I did mention a few weeks ago, is Damian Pierce just a, what's going on, Louis? Is Damian Pierce just a LeGarrette Blount type of guy, where the Patriots used LeGarrette Blount sparingly and they used him in the majority in the fourth quarter when they got themselves a lead and they just need to get tough, bruising yardage. And then it was okay, once he got going, it's a freight train. Let's get out of the way. And you better get out of the hell out of the way if it's Damian Pierce. Devin Singletary should get majority of the carries. I could see what you're saying, though. I agree that Damian Pierce could actually manufacture his own yardage in
Mm-hmm.
some cases of short yardage. Pass blocking, he's not a bad pass blocker as well. But at the end of the day, if Singletary isn't getting the majority of the carries, then that's when I can say it could be a little bit of a problem. Bobby Slowick did mention that he want to get back to the sharing the workload at the running back position now that Damian Pierce is, could be healthy this Sunday. I think he mentioned this last week when he was also
Mm-hmm.
almost available for Sunday as well. But having him back is a plus regardless. Damian Pierce is a better player than Mike Boone. So that's a plus. I'll take any sort of improvements whatsoever for
Mm-hmm.
my team any day of the week. Damian Pierce, it's been tough, man. It's been a tough year
We
for him.
lost
I
money.
did not expect that. Yep, I didn't expect it. We've seen this scheme. And we've seen the numerous amount of running backs that have worked in this scheme. Damn it, I saw Ron Dane's fat ass in the Houston Texans jersey. Shout out to Ron Dane, former Heisman winner for Wisconsin. Gary Kubiak came here with Ron freaking Dane and had him running the ball, and he actually looked half decent out there. And damn it, I can go as far as to say that Ron Dane's fat ass looked better than Damian Pierce running in this scheme. And it's absolutely ridiculous that that statement has just came out of my mouth. That is ridiculous. Is Damian Pierce no longer relevant in this scheme? Like, what do the Texans do at running back now? Because what
Draft.
we once thought was a solution in
Mm-hmm.
Damian Pierce and Singletary has not, I don't want to say a problem, but it's starting to build question marks around it.
Mm-hmm.
And I never thought Damian Pierce was a top running back. I never thought he was top 10. But I thought he was going to make his case this year to crack between 10 to 15. That's what I thought he was going to do. It just hasn't worked out at all.
Disappointment, man. I mean, we were expecting 1,100
Mm,
yards,
that's a great
maybe.
question.
Who gets back to
That's a
22
great
form first, DP or Petrie? Petrie, we have to have a conversation about him as well. Because I do think we both said we expected him to be playing at an all pro level after a 5 interception season as a rookie and then being under head coach D'Amico Ryans. So many missed tackles against the Arizona Cardinals. It has been a trend like that for Jalen Petrie the past couple of weeks. Uh, should have helped on a couple of touchdowns in that game against Arizona. I mean, you could also call the one from Cincinnati that Stingley got behind on. Maybe he could have helped that more on well, but tough to see your, some players that we expected to ball out, not really, put it in the case, and which was weird because Jalen Petrie started out on fire. And it's like, what has happened now? Does he get benched? We've seen other teams bench their young players and they respond in a good way. Shout out to the Houston Rockets, benching their
question.
young guys, them coming back, Jalen Green, Jabari Smith. So maybe there needs to be a benching in place here. But I mean, this is the biggest game of the season, man. Do you really want to do a benching right then and there? I mean, it gets tough not having Jimmy Ward, really does suck. Once again, not playing due to a hamstring injury. I think this game is going to be really close, Harley. And Louis brings up, did y'all
Yeah.
see the Jags top corner Tyson Campbell's going to be out on Sunday? Yes, we do. Last week, the secondary was not good for the Jacksonville Jaguars, allowing Will Levis to throw two 40-yard bombs over them, one of them a touchdown to D-Hop. What I am nervous about is just it's a division game, Harley. And yes, we do have the overall matchup against them. I think it's like 20-5 the past couple of years. And
Yeah.
how comfortable are you? That's what I want to ask.
I'm very comfortable, actually. I
Percentage
am
wise.
comfortable. Let me go. I would say I'm about, man, I don't want to go 3/4, but I'll say 65%.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say 65% comfortability going into this game. I'm pretty hyped, and I'm going to be at the game, so that's going to be hype whatsoever.
Hmm.
But this is the game, man. This is the battle for the division. If you're not up for this game, I highly I cannot expect the Houston Texans to go out there and drop a goose egg.
That's what I'm scared of, man, and I hope they don't do that. But it falls in the back of my mind because here's why I said that before I let you go off again. I feel like we're on the fence as fans, right? I feel like some of us are really scared to put 100% of their faith into this team because we've seen them let us down this season. The
Yes,
Falcons, the 0-6 Carolina Panthers. Right now, the Houston Texans are on a 3-game winning streak. Does this high come to an end? I would just hate for it to be against the Jacksonville Jaguars when you're fighting for a division. And I feel like fans feel that way too. If you win this game, though, everyone's bought in. If you lose this game, I won't feel like it, but a lot of people will be same old Texans. And I hate that.
I hate that stigma too. And that's exactly what's going to happen if they lose. If it depends on how they lose. Now, if they're competitive in the
Mm.
loss, then they're not going to say that. But that stigma is always there in the back of your mind. You've seen Houston sports teams disappoint you in some of the biggest games where you need them to get a win. I think a lot of people are only looking at the AFC South when it comes to this game, and they need to start looking at the entire playoff picture. This isn't week 17. This isn't, the last quarter of the season. Like, cool. You get this win. That's cool. You're 7-4. The Jags are 7-4. You're first in the AFC South. Um, hey, you still got 6 more games to play. 5, 6
Mhm.
more games to play. And I'm not saying, you look at the rest of the schedule and everyone's like, oh man, it's kind of favorable. Broncos looking really good. Jets have a strong defense. You got 2 games against the Titans. Those are divisional games. And not every divisional game is going to be like yesterday with the Cowboys and the Commanders, 44-10 route. Like, not every divisional game is like that. We seen the Commanders, that same Commanders team, took Philadelphia Eagles to the ropes to the very last seconds of the fourth quarter. Ended up Eagles taking that W a few weeks ago. So let's not take this for granted. This is a must-win game for the Houston
Mm.
Texans. It is a 67% chance, according to PFF. If they win this game, 67% chance they will make it to the playoffs.
Wow.
If they lose this game, 32, 33% chance they don't make it to the playoffs. So that is if you win 2/3, cool. You're going to go to the playoffs most likely. If you lose, it's going to be tough because then you fall to the 6-5 mud.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of teams that are 6-5,
The
five and
Colts.
six, 5-5, and the Colts are looking at you like, "Huh, hey buddy, how you doing?" And the Colts, say what you ever you want to say. They're a division rival, but they continuously get the job done no matter who they got at quarterback.
Like H Town 3 said, this isn't the same old Texans anymore. Everything falling in our favor in all aspects. Future looks bright, fellas. I agree. I do think the Houston Texans end up winning this football game. That is my prediction. The Houston Texans win this game. And I think it is going to come down to a CJ Stroud game winning field goal. I don't know how you think this game ends up, Hardy.
Yeah, so I just put out the predictions video on my YouTube channel. And I had it 30-27. I
Ooh,
think the Texans drop a 30 bomb again against the Jacksonville
in that
Jaguars.
red
Am I
uniform.
confident? Absolutely. I am super confident. They're in their old battle red from the top to the bottom. All right.
Sheesh.
Ketchup bottle drip. All right. That's what we're coming into NRG. And if you don't got that NRG going into the stadium, then I need you to head on out, man. Because this is, like you said, the biggest game of the season up to date. The biggest game in quite some time for the Houston Texans. All right. They need this win. I've already stated it. 67% chance if they win this game, they go to the playoffs. You be 7-4. And then you look at the rest of the AFC and the standings. If you're 7-4,
You're a top
the
4 seed.
Ravens are 8-3.
Yep.
They're the top seed.
I would run that
And
game back.
you're only a game back from the top seed in the AFC, and that is something you would have never thought to be possible with the Houston Texans from the last few years. We're getting a few questions about Derek Barnett and some other people asking about Shaq Leonard as well. Derek Barnett is someone I wouldn't mind consider getting. He's got some decent sack numbers, got cut from Philadelphia. Maybe a change of scenery is what's good for him. He was mid in Philly. I also think that the numerous amount of defensive linemen they had kind of contributed to him getting less playing time, as well as some poor performance. Maybe here in Houston, especially with Dylan Horton having the personal reasons, issues, hope everything's good with him. We don't know anything more on him. I hope everything's good on his part, family-wise, personal-wise, mind-wise. But Derek Barnett could be maybe a suitable replacement for him. Shaq Leonard, what are your thoughts on him, man? It's quite interesting.
It's interesting because Zaire Franklin, the linebacker from the Colts, I mean, it's just he is just playing out of his mind. The Colts might have themselves another great young linebacker on their hands. There is a reason why Shaq gets called the maniac. And the only reason why I like it is because of head coach D'Amico Ryans. And I've seen the job that he's done with the linebackers this year. Hardly me and you both said it. This linebacking core is not anything to be surprising about. There was injury questions all over the board for Pearman, for Christian Harris, for Blake Cashman. And fast forward to now, the linebacker play has been pretty good. Blake Cashman has won an AFC Defensive Player of the Week award. Christian Harris has turned it up. Perriman, when healthy, looks solid, but you do have Perriman out. You have Henry To'oTo'o dealing with a concussion. I think Jake Hansen's out as well. I wouldn't mind it. I think it will help this Houston Texans defense. You add another veteran on the team, another potential leader, someone who's going to immediately buy in. What I liked about Shaq is when he was released, still gave out turkeys to family in Indy, right? He did not let what happened change what he was going to do. That goes to show you, how good of a person he is. Bring the maniac to H-Town and then watch the final game of the season, him have his revenge game against them.
That would be absolutely fun. You hit it on the head, man. D'Amico's a linebackers coach. He's a former linebacker, and he's gotten the best out of your linebacker crew. Henry To'oTo'o has played really well, actually, being a 6th-round pick. So Blake Cashman, grabbing him for a chunk of change a year or 2 years ago from the Jets for a
7th-round pick,
7th-round pick, 6th-round pick, whatever. And he is arguably a top 10 linebacker in the NFL right now. Like, he is playing that way. Cash Money deserves his flowers. He is playing like a top 10 linebacker in the NFL.
Bookmark.
Someone needs to hear it. Damn it. Christian Harris has played really well these last few weeks.
Still
he
young.
has just turned it up another notch. He was a little bit of a letdown in the beginning of the season, but he has turned it up another notch, and I'm excited to see it. So why not? You make good points, man. Shaq Leonard's a veteran. He's got playoff experience, and that is something you just never have enough of with the Houston Texans or any of that football team. Hell, I remember the Texans. I thought one of their better signings was a guy that never played a down for you, Mike Adams. He
Mm,
was a former safety, got here when he was like 38, 39 or whatever, when underneath Bill O'Brien's coaching reign. And there was a lot of players behind the scenes that talked really highly of Mike Adams and what he meant in that locker room. Just
mm.
giving them expertise, giving them coaching ideas. I'm not saying you sign Shaq Leonard, he never plays. But all I'm saying is someone with that mindset, and you sign him within the division. And I'm just saying, I mean, don't you think he gonna want a little revenge,
Mm.
like you say? Don't you think he wants to prove something? Because he was informed that he was gonna be benched this Sunday. Like, can you believe Shaq Leonard being benched? Apparently, Shaq Leonard, maybe Darius Leonard, whatever y'all want to call him, has maybe lost a step. Maybe it's due to injury. Maybe it's a mental block. Maybe he's fully healthy. It's just a mental block. Who knows? A lot of times when you get hurt, a serious injury, it's a back injury too. Maybe he's fully healthy. It's just a
Mhm.
mental block in his head. He just doesn't think, he can perform up to that level again. Who knows? But who not better than D'Amico Ryans and what he's done again with this linebacker crew? You cannot say enough of. Why not, man? Why not bring him here? Why not?
I think it's just as good as bringing in JJ Watt, like we mentioned
Yeah,
earlier, because I mean, with Shaq, it's more of we know he could play football. There's no questions about what is going on there still, about whether or not he has anything left in the tank. I like how you bring up the mental hurdle because people who haven't played sports don't realize how big it is. Right? I had a
yeah,
friend tore his ACL,
yeah.
comes back fully healthy. He said for the next like 6 to 8 months, he was so scared to make a move. He was so scared to make a
True.
cut because he thought he was just gonna tear again. And this is the NFL we're talking about. You have to be playing at 100%. We just saw Drew Scruggs miss pretty much almost the entire season with a hamstring injury, right? You want to be careful with lower body kind of back, lower back injuries. But like you said, why not? And D'Amico Ryans is what sells it for me. Like if we had an offensive minded coach, right? If it was anyone other else than D'Amico Ryans, I would say don't do it. I think it sends a message to the locker room. We are trying to get better. We are trying to make that playoff push. I will go ahead and do it, man. And let's just stay on the topic of the Houston Texans defense. Um, I think we see Will Anderson Jr. emerge. And,
Ooh,
and I had this feeling last night because 2 sacks in the past 3 games, and it's like, all right, he beat a triple team against the Arizona Cardinals. You could, I'll take that one, that little head slap on Baker Mayfield. And I was like, you know what, man? Like it's going to come together sooner rather than later. It's not like he's playing ass, right? Me and you brought up the pass rush win weight. Why we bring that up is because he is beating his offensive lineman. He's just not getting the sack, whether that's just by this much or by this much, but he could get it. And now we are seeing him get more home. And I think with JJ Watt mentoring these young guys, I think we see it on Sunday. JJ Watt used to terrorize Jacksonville. He used to terrorize the whole AFC South. And I think we see a new player do it. And I think it's Will Anderson Jr. I think he has his statement game, Harley.
I am so glad you brought this up. I really am. Because Will Anderson, we said, I think we hinted at this, or maybe you said it just outright. But I think you had mentioned just a few weeks ago, and what if Will Anderson came alive in the second half of the season? And that's exactly what he's been doing these last 2 games. You're starting to see him in the quarterback's face.
Mm.
And sooner or later, this man's got to get home. Like we mentioned the pass rush win weights because people keep mentioning it because sooner or later that win rate is going to manufacture itself into results. hey, he had himself a really good game against the Cardinals, against Kyler Murray. He was everywhere in that game. Excuse me. Jaguar game, you gonna need him. You need him to make a play. You need him. Last Jaguar game, he blocked that field goal. Huge play for you. You had everything go right in that game. You had Andrew Beck run back a kickoff. Absolutely insane. You gotta know that kind of stuff is not gonna happen in this game. But that is fine because CJ Stroud is so much better now.
Mm-hmm.
From that game to now, I don't need Andrew Beck returning a kickoff for me. Now, if he wants to do it, I have
Go
no
ahead.
problem. No problem whatsoever, buddy. Dude, get another one. But Will Anderson needs to step up. He needs a big game again. Him consistently getting these kinds of games is just going to help him mentally moving forward. Like, oh, okay. Okay, I got 2 sacks in the last game. Okay, like, oh, okay, I got close again. Oh, if I could get 1.5 sacks against Trevor Lawrence, make a huge sack on the third down, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
like this is what we wanted from Will Anderson. It's starting to come to fruition. Texans fans, start looking at 51 right now. That man is coming alive. In this second half of the season, you need every sack he can generate for you.
100% agree. And it's like he's getting closer, and I think you see it. And what he didn't do in terms of getting to the quarterback, I mean, he is blowing up the run. And we brought up him being quiet with, I'm pretty sure he's seen all the criticism that he has gotten, not being worth it, trading up to 3 for select them. He has only 1 sack on the season, but he's kept his head down. He is working. And I think he's going to absolutely destroy Jacksonville on Sunday. Harley, final words for H-Town. How do you feel going into Sunday? Can you give us any type of motivation?
All right, guys. Make sure you are there. Make sure you are seated. Make sure you're at least in the vicinity of your seats. We need everybody there. We need everybody to be their ass sitting down. And I know everyone's been saying this, but Texans fans, we know how they can get. All right, they are different than Astros fans. They are different than Rockets fans. Texans fans know exactly what time it is. Once 11:30 hits, once 11:45 hits, your ass better be in that goddamn seat because it's going to be like this all damn day. That offense is going to be moving up and down the field. CJ Stroud is going to have over 300 passing yards, and he's going to have himself a 3-touchdown day, 0 interceptions, huge bounce back game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He gave up that 3 interceptions. All right, that's no problem. He had his worst performance of the year. Thank you for having it last week. This week, all right, flip a new page. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. You battling for first place in the division. All right, now it's time to show me what you really about, D'Amico Ryans. Now it's time to show me what you really about, Bobby Slowick. Now it's time to show me what y'all really about, defense and CJ Stroud. Show me that you are him. Show me that you are the franchise for this Houston Texans team. You've given us the crumbs. Hell, you've given us a whole cookie or two. But now I want the whole damn thing now, baby. I want first place in AFC South. There ain't no pause. We going in this raw. All right. The Houston Texans are getting this win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We want this division. There is nobody that can get this division away from you but yourself. You got to be loud. You got to be seated. And if your voice is still intact by the fourth quarter, then there is a problem. Damn it, you better be excited as hell. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be hyped as I always am. I'm going to be talking my shit as I always am, like I did against those dirty, ugly, terrible Steelers. Oh, the terrible Towels. Oh, hell, they were terrible, all right. Terrible on my goddamn field. Get their asses out of NRG. Houston Texans are going to do the same thing to those pussy cats. The Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be out of the first place division. Texans are taking over. NFL, watch out. We're only one game behind that first place AFC West. Come on now. Come on now.
A lot of AOs in the chat.
Come on now.
Levi, thanks for the $5. Hope you can hear from Oklahoma. Appreciate you guys. Texans going to give Ruben all the ammo he needs for the roundtable trash talk. Let's go. Yes, the AFC South roundtable got going. First episode, it was very good. Excited to go against other AFC South teams. Cannot wait to bring my boy Harley along for a couple of episodes. No one talks better trash than Harley, man. I go back all the way to when we used to play ball against each other. I mean, this dude was cursing like a sailor in high school. I mean, I just, I cannot say the stuff he said because we will not have a platform no more. Neither of us would. Nonetheless.
This is just a taste, by the way, chat. Like, this isn't nothing than what get me and Ruben on the football field, and there is no Hawaiian shirt on. Like, there ain't no hat backwards. It's all business.
What I would do to go play again, man. When with this, I was watching, one of my favorite movies is Rocky, Rocky 3 with Clubber Lang. And at the very end of the movie, when Rocky is returning that favor to Apollo Creed looks at him and says, "You know what, Rock? It's a shame we got to get old, man. I am 26. Harley is about 32.
Hey, man. I'm 33. No. No, hell no. Thank God I'm not that old.
I know, bro. Nonetheless, guys, thank you for being part of today's episode. This was brought to you by Bet Online. Believe in the Houston Texans. This was
MVP. Come on now, MVP. Come on now,
MVP. What I see CJ Stroud going out there on Monday. Harley, you keep it up. I see him running out that tunnel. I see him leading the Houston Texans on multiple scoring drives that don't end in 3. They end in 7. I see this Houston Texans defense feasting over sunshine, putting the glitter kittens down, and I see the Houston Texans first place AFC South on Monday. God damn it. If this was college football, I would tell you to storm the field on Sunday if you could. Houston, stand up. Let's take first place. And then when we beat the Jacksonville Jaguars on Monday, we could talk about a Super Bowl. Thank you so much for being part of Believe in this episode. You have a